Hi, everyone. Again, today I just want to have a video where we sit down, talk, and remind ourselves of what's important. And the topic that came to me today is kind of just men's health, fitness, and gaming. And these are topics I always like to talk about. And it's not to it's not to be redundant. It's to discuss the same topics in different ways or under different philosophies or ideas so that we kind of reinforce these behaviors to ourselves so we can honestly live a decent quality, somewhat fulfilling life. And I like to tie that into examples in my life. And please leave comments or thoughts below the video to to show that you understand and can relate, or offer some other positive insights. I think that's one of my goals here. To start off by saying, I would like to say I really think gaming is undervalued or not appreciated enough in its importance to a man's health. Um, I'm sure if you really dig into the research, which I haven't, and maybe I should. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm sure there's plenty of great things about how gaming can help men. And I would tie gaming more so into the categories of like reading. I do believe it's mentally stimulating in ways. It can captivate your imagination and preoccupy your brain and time with something. And it uses hand and eye, a little bit of motor coordination, things like that. So I would kind of tie it into some form of reading where there's benefits. When it was late at night and I had an hour to kill before bed, maybe I did some readings already, or I was able to turn to my game just to fill in that void of time. Or like even last night was Friday night, it's Saturday morning right now. And I worked all day, had a pretty productive day at work. Things didn't move along as fast as I would like, but I'm kind of working on something a little bit tricky right now. So it didn't feel productive, but was definitely I definitely had to unwrap. I'm definitely unwrapping a bunch of things. So, I wish I did more. But by the time the workday was over, to be honest with you, I was pretty burnt out at that point because I stretched myself thin throughout the day and did my best. So then I went to work out, and by that point I was tired. You could I don't care who you were, if you were the president or whoever you were, if you would have called me up and said, "Hey, come here and let's do this or that," I honestly would have just rather stayed home at that point. And I stayed home, played my game. By the time I was like almost done playing my game, I was half asleep, you know, knocked out on my couch. At one point, I woke up at like 3 in the morning. I played the game for like another 10 minutes and just went back to bed. And it was quite a peaceful experience, a very calming, very non stressful experience. And I couldn't have seen myself wanting to do anything else. And sometimes if you don't have something like that to fill in a void or a gap of time, loneliness could probably strike and feel more real than it has to be, you know. So I just think it was a healthy outlet. But and then I woke up. I went to bed fairly early. I think I woke up 6 o'clock this morning, had a couple cups of coffee while playing the game. And it was quite enjoyable. And for those of you who might not know, I think most of you know the game I play mostly, if not only, is a game called D2. resurrected. I still also play LOD. It's a very old game, but it's a game that's been well designed. It's very structured, and yeah, it's just a great game. I would argue it's one of the best games ever made. But it's kind of timeless. But yeah, so I played that game this morning, had my coffee. Sometimes when you drink your coffee, you kind of want something stimulating, whether you're reading the newspaper, looking over the news or whatever. And it kind of gives you that. Um, but I think what's important is not letting it take over your life. I could admit if I didn't have my game, like for instance, I have a spare bedroom in my house that I pretty much don't use. I have a couple spare bedrooms in my house that honestly they I pretty much never use them. But I've been planning to get them painted. So sometimes I'm questioning to myself is the question I have for myself is, am I not painting these rooms because I'd rather play my game? Or am I just putting off painting these rooms because it's honestly not that important anyways? I don't use them. I should get it over with. So, you just have to be careful with things like that. I think if it was a higher priority in my mind, I would definitely be a little bit more motivated to get it done. But yeah, that's where I am with that. But now to tie this all back, what you have to understand, I would stress the importance of, make sure you're focusing on your job as best as you can. What I've come to realize is, year after year after year, you know, it, it's hard. Working is hard. You never completely focus, but the work keeps coming in and you do your best to juggle it however you can and take care of business. That's kind of how I feel with work. But uh for those of you who don't know, I'm a big now let's the other balance that I think is key to life is fitness. And that includes cardio, some type of cardiovascular training and weightlifting. And I've stressed the cardio to you guys and I've stressed the weights. I'm definitely this year, towards the end of the year, I was definitely pretty cardio heavy in my workouts, meaning I'd go for a lot of runs. I was weightlifting maybe 3 to 4 times a week for an hour and doing some cardio at the gym. Um, what I would recommend is because I would do about an hour of weights and like 25, 30 minutes of cardio. And that it was light cardio. I'm going to cut that 30 minutes of cardio out of my gym workouts and put that into the weights. So I'm doing an hour and a half of weights. Safe weight training, hard weight training though, push myself hard. And I've been doing that maybe for a week or two now. And I honestly feel better. I think an issue you could run into is especially if you're not eating a lot. Me, like I kind of know what you have to understand what your maintenance calories are, like how much you can eat to basically not get fat or not get skinny, like lose weight, lose too much weight. I kind of have an idea where that is. And I think with doing the cardio, I was definitely falling under my maintenance some days and it was definitely getting harder to push the same weights or heavier weights in the gym. So I want to cut back on the cardio a little bit, replace it with weight training to just keep my muscle mass stimulated. Um, Make sure I don't put on too much body fat. I want to maintain. It's hard to do everything at once when you work out. What I mean, it's hard to get leaner and stronger and put on more muscle at the same time. It's usually a careful balance of one or the other. Um, so I want to put that recommendation out to you guys. Just definitely have your weightlifting be your primary focus and then focus on your cardio. So, like this morning I played my game all morning. Today I'm going to shoot for maybe like an 8-mile run. It's already almost noon. It's 11:30, so If it, I might go, I might go 10 miles if I feel good. Um, but, but yeah, just remember, we're going to leave it off with this. When you're in the gym, at least an hour, I'm bumping my recommendation for some of you guys up there to an hour and a half. Um, and push hard. I believe in pyramiding the weights. And what I mean by that is every time you switch an exercise, so say you're going from bench press and you did, your first set, you did 70 pounds, your second set, but it felt light. Your second set, you did 90 pounds and it felt light. And then your third set, you did 100 pounds and you hit failure around 8 reps. I'm going to say do that for at least 2 sets, maybe 3, and then you switch off to a chest machine. Same thing, start off, don't start off at your maximum weight. Do a setter, do 1 or 2 sets of warm up, and then till you get to a working weight, and then do maybe 2 or 3 sets to failure there. And the reason I believe in that is because every machine is different. It hits your body and joints at different angles. Get adjusted to it before you really put the weight on, even though you're already warmed up. I've been weight training my entire life, and thank God, I bless the Lord. I have no significant injury. I've tweaked things and things like that, but pray to God that I've had no major injuries, and especially in my later parts of my life, I always did those pyramid warm ups. Every machine I switched. Train hard, use your game wisely, and we'll leave it at that. Enjoy the day. Thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe.